Hey everybody, this is Mattie with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're having a very nice Sunday and perhaps a very nice early Monday morning, depending on where you're watching this in the world. Hopefully you've had a terrific weekend, and we're going to take a look at just a handful of news stories today. Biggest news story really that's hard to pinpoint, hard to define, is just the fact that this market is slumping as much as it is. That's unfortunate. That's the reality. That's what we're dealing with. But we're going to take a look at some of the other pieces of noteworthy news that are floating around out there. A recent interview by Brian Kelly is probably worth your attention, taking a look at what he said with CNBC just the other day. We have a very prestigious American university that's basically come out and said that they're investing quite a bit into a blockchain research center. So they, I guess, see the future as being quite bright. And we're going to take a look at something very encouraging at the tail end of this, because I know that, some of us may need a boost, just may need a little bit of a silver lining or something to look forward to in these doldrums of the market that we're facing. But right off the bat, we're going to take a look at this article on altcoinbuzz.io by Christopher. Galaxy Digital set to create a bridge between Wall Street and crypto. So Galaxy Digital, which is the crypto bank founded by Mike Novogratz, is investing millions of dollars in crypto-related projects, as reported by Business Insider. I would encourage everybody out there in the Altcoin Buzz Army to follow Mike Novogratz if you haven't already. You may have a disdain for John McAfee or for some of the other people out there in the space. Mike Novogratz is a lot of fun on Twitter. He's not as bombastic. He's more sparing with his tweets, that's for sure. And he's a very smart man. So he launched a merchant bank called Galaxy Digital and stresses that its venture capital arm is being put to use, particularly for investing into the market for digital coins. So there's been all kinds of activity. The firm has already announced that it led a $15 million round in Alpha Point, a New York firm that helps companies launch their own digital tokens, but other investments by Galaxy remain under wraps, says Business Insider. So Galaxy's capital comes from two pools, and you see that one of which is from an EOS fund. It's already worth $325 million. And it's looking at companies that want to, quote, operate off the EOS blockchain. Then you have the second pool, which stems from the firm's balance sheet, ostensibly worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So quite a bit of money. And Mike is bringing in all kinds of people. So he's bringing in individuals from Goldman Sachs, particularly. So Richard Kim, a former executive director at Goldman Sachs, he's hired him as the chief operating officer for Galaxy Digital. And Bloomberg reports that Kim was one of the persons at Goldman Sachs helping to set up a desk for trading cryptocurrencies. So you could see that Novogratz there poached a very valuable, potentially, individual, or at least that's what we can speculate. Novogratz himself also used to work at Goldman Sachs in the 90s, right? So he's coming from that background. He's coming from that Wall Street perspective. So do check out this article, guys, by Christopher. You can see that this is hopefully setting up a bit of that bridge, as Christopher describes, between crypto, between Wall Street. I think every step we can take in that direction is a good one. And you can read about that more on Bloomberg here. Mike Novogratz makes Goldman VP the COO of his crypto company. Another article by that same source, Novogratz raises $250 million for crypto merchant bank. And like I said, guys, Mike tweets pretty sparingly, but he's a good follow. He's very informed. No matter what it is he's discussing, he's very informed, and I'd encourage you guys to give him a follow, check him out. We'd love to hear your comments on this particular issue below, so do be sure to let us know your thoughts. And in this article by Licia, Bitcoin is still alive, says Brian Kelly. I didn't know we had to make that kind of an affirmation, but for those people out there that are perhaps doubtful, yes, it is still alive. So this is just a quick little interview and, a segment, I should say, that Brian Kelly did on CNBC. So he is the CEO of BKCM LLC, an independent firm specializing in cryptocurrency and blockchain-focused investment opportunities, is not prepared to write the Bitcoin obituary just yet. In an interview with CNBC, Kelly went on to state that Bitcoin is not dead. So you're going to have the usual here, guys. Obviously, they bring up the news that has surrounded the recent FUD, the fact that we're in a Red Sea, the fact that you've had some pretty high-profile hacks, the fact that there's been a problem, especially on BitThumb in these recent days, and going back further, there have been hacks in recent weeks as well. But as always, it's important to put things in perspective. And Kelly points out that a year ago, Bitcoin traded for approximately $2,500 at this time. So, I mean, you know, we have these particular time frames that we tend to view this market in, and we want to have day on day or week on week or even month on month performance improvements, right? But I mean, in any space, when you go from 2,500 to now where we are just below 6,000, I mean, that's over 100% gains. So yes, we've been bleeding lately. Yes, the euphoria has worn off, but there's nothing wrong with going back a year and saying, hey, we were at 2,500. We're now at whatever, the high 5,000s, which is low. I mean, in a relative sense, given the current time frame. But it just puts things in perspective. Now, Brian Kelly disagrees somewhat with some of the other researchers out there. So Tom Lee, because he has a very specific view of how the Bitcoin futures have affected the price of Bitcoin, i.e. their expiration, the expiration of those futures specifically. Brian Kelly, I think, sees it a little bit differently. You have some other people here. So you have Todd Gordon from tradinganalysis.com. He's also confirmed that he remains bullish on Bitcoin and says it will reach 10,000 in 2019. I don't know if that's the most bullish prediction. 10,000 in 2019? It was just under 10,000 last month. I hope we get well above 10,000 in 2019. So Alicia points out here that you do have some other people. In case you're in need of a little bit of a pep rally or a motivational boost, you have Spencer Bogart, CEO of Blockchain Capital. Like Kelly mentioned that BTC sell-offs were related to the fact that investors are trying to cover taxes, saying that Bitcoin is here to stay because, quote, it has been institutionalized, and that is what really matters. You also have Dan Moorhead, who's the founder of Pantera Capital. He's had some positive things to say. John McAfee, who's, I guess, still in hospital at this time. We wish him well. We wish him a speedy recovery. So he's made some claims that have not really been all that accurate. But on the whole, guys, the point is that you have lots of individuals that can point to the fundamental reasons that long-term Bitcoin's going to be successful. You know what? If you're day trading and that kind of stuff, that's where it gets a little bit more painful, right? And we don't have any advice to give as far as that goes. But over the long term, with the institutional interest that's being expressed, yes, I tend to agree personally with all those guys as far as their longer term outlooks. And here you have Brian Kelly's firm, BKCM. You can check that out if you're more interested in learning about what he does, I suppose, on a daily basis outside of CNBC interviews. Interesting website here. There's the team. And you can take a look at the interview itself on CNBC Fast Money with Melissa Lee, his reasons why it's not time yet to talk about the Bitcoin funeral, not by a long shot. And he goes on to describe the details relating to that particular opinion there. And now, in a bit of a different piece here by Garrett, Stanford University plans to open a blockchain research center. So this is obviously a very prestigious university, and it's one of the world's most prestigious. It has announced that it will be creating a blockchain research center. So this new center is going to focus on bringing university members and industry professionals together for research purposes. Furthermore, the new center plans to, quote, create courses to help future students and working professionals use blockchain to develop financial instruments, protect intellectual property, and manage vital records and more. Not too bad. So, quote, blockchain massively lowers the barriers to creating tradable digital assets. It allows individuals who don't know each other or even trust one another to make irreversible transactions in a whole variety of fields in a safe and secure way. Then you have another lead faculty member that also added, quote, blockchain will become increasingly critical to doing business globally. Stanford should be at the forefront of efforts to improve, apply, and understand the many ripple effects of this technology. So it looks like Stanford is really getting in on the game. I think anytime you have a research center like this, you're going to attract funding as well from parties that are going to stand to benefit from their investments long term, right? They can be partnered with Stanford. You can see a few of those here. So the plan to initially run the research program for 5 years. The program was sponsored by donations, right, from the Ethereum Foundation, Protocol Labs, the Interchain Foundation, Omisego, Dfinity, Stiff Tongue, and Polychain Capital. So obviously there's a little bit of mutual benefit there for these individuals, for these organizations that are going in, sponsoring the initiative. Yeah, they're going to get some exposure that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se. But going to be something to see. So a 5-year horizon, I think there's plenty that's going to happen in the next 5 years. Guys, if you've attended Stanford, maybe you're a student there, we'd love to hear your perspective on this, so do be sure to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts. You can read about that here on Stanford University's page. Stanford computer scientists launched the Center for Blockchain Research. And guys, just to end on a positive note here, I know that things are not necessarily on the up and up currently in the market, especially over the last 24 to 48 hours. There's been some bleeding, but taking a look at Cardano co-founder Charles Hoskinson and others like him, I just saw this tweet and I thought it was pretty encouraging. So he says, what's often missed by the cryptocurrency is going to die broken record media is that after the next wave of regulation, Wall Street is showing up to the party with all of their locked up capital. That's tens of trillions of dollars entering the space eventually. Future is bright. I know it's painful, guys. Look, I'm suffering as well. There's no exception for people like me, and I definitely acknowledge the fact that it's tough out there. But yeah, long term, it's a question of, are you going to ride out the storm? Are you going to deal with the heavy waves and the turbulent seas? Are you in it with this kind of end goal, with this prize in mind? Because eventually, I mean, we may have to keep retracing. We may have to suffer further. I don't know. I can't see the future. But eventually, this is my best bet, and I'm in agreement with Charles Hoskinson here. So that's the reason that I stay motivated, I stay positive, and nothing is financial advice, guys. But if you are a believer in terms of blockchain's future and in terms of the future of cryptocurrency, that's how I see the end goal. That's how I see the horizon of all these activities panning out. The tens of trillions of dollars entering the market. Not financial advice, but that's just my personal outlook. So guys, make sure you're following Altcoin Buzz News on Twitter. That way we can alert you to all the latest and greatest as far as what's happening in the crypto space. If you like this video, do be sure to leave us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because we put out new content every day, to which you can be notified if you are subscribed. Leave us your comments, guys. We love hearing your feedback. We love hearing your thoughts and opinions. And with that, guys, I wish you a happy tail end to your weekend. We'll see you again soon with a new video. Take care.